Okay, so with in, out versus out, black hole versus star, yes? We will talk about the soul, in and out of the body. We can look at space, in and out, in and out. Black hole, inwards, and then we have stars, outwards. Beautiful, isn't it? And spacecrafts, essentially, stuff that's gravitational pull, inwards, in. And then we have a push out star. This creates a large amount of movement, especially in a universe that has always got medium in it. As long as you stay in the confines of the universe, there is always something to be pulled in, and there's always something to be pushed out. Eternal stars, these are known as, but you have to combine them together. An eternal black hole as well. You can't have one without the other. It is very tricky to do so. It's very beneficial to have one versus the other. Mm-hmm. Tap one into the other. And also anything else that you don't want it to expand too much and you don't want it to contract too much. You've got the balance between one versus the other, and some of it you can jet out. And you can use it as a propulsion. Gravitational pull, bringing everything in. But there's concentrated gravitational pull. Mm-hmm. So to be able to limit a pull around a circumference, but only allow a certain area to experience the pull. It's very fascinating if you can combine. Let's say you make a periodic table, and we understand it as it is, X, Y, Z. The universe with X amount of time mathematically could be calculated that with X amount of time, the universe is going to reach a limit on what it can fuse together in the time of being defused. And as this is a result, you have an outcome of the most compact element that you will find. Mm-hmm. So will it go beyond iron? It's possible. Can it go beyond iron? Absolutely. Fact is that already in labs, you can already do this, yes? Yeah. So it already indicates that already you can surpass what the universe can do. However, it comes with a cost. If the black hole, the final black hole, is able to grab that data, it's going to take longer winter. It will just have to dissolve it and take a little bit longer. Triggering an instability is often more so wiser towards the end. Mm-hmm. You don't want it to dissolve you too much. Mm-hmm. The less it knows, the longer it's going to take. In certain circumstances, if there are fragments around and it learns, it's going to have enough time to learn this, blah, 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 blah. Do you want a longer winter? Probably not. So if the universe 50 bills, mm-hmm. and you make something that goes beyond it and it's had enough time to grab it in the time, it's going to take a little bit of time to learn that, and as it learns it, it's going to be able to pull it apart. This could make this thing last a lot longer. There are shades of grey to this, by the way. Interesting. We look at the universe, and we're going to ask something, a question, right? So when we're looking at the light and the dark, okay? The light reveals the dark. So light into darkness, and darkness into light. Light into darkness, darkness into light. And somewhere in the middle, there's a tepid, right? Whilst all of this is happening, the one question that most will overlook, why? Because pick light, pick darkness. What side are you on? Yeah, take a pick. So the fluctuation from one to the other, one to the other, one to the other. We often overlook something. It's very invisible, right? Mm-hmm. How come it doesn't do anything to this outer skin? Yeah. So when you come down to the last supermassive black hole, mm-hmm. and the cycle's about to restart, you'll learn very quickly on that it doesn't affect beyond. It doesn't mean that there isn't a beyond. It just means that it doesn't interact with it. Mm-hmm. So therefore you would understand that there is a skin. Only so much that it will be able to expand to, and only so much that it will be able to hold. This stuff remains neutral, unaffected, in both formats. Whether there is a star present or a black hole or final or a supermassive star, assuming. In this ratio, there is a skin that is untouched. Mm-hmm. Figuring out that skin and figuring out how to, one, if it's possible, to put this around a craft. It would mean that you are neutral as long as you stay in it. It's also understood it as a geode. Mm-hmm. It is unaffected mm-hmm. by either or. The medium. Yeah. Very interesting. Mm. Mm-hmm. we often overlook it because we're distracted by the beauty, the light, the things orbiting and moving, and there's so much distraction. It's almost like the universe itself by design. Only in certain circumstances will it reveal when there's a time to be revealed. This is an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. You could spend your whole life existing in something, looking at these until you have the eyes to see it and the mind to perceive it. And therefore you are distracted from it. Factor that in with complacency, and then our life form's chosen to pay attention to this stuff and look at this. And to look at it, you might not be able to perceive it even more so because, in order to see the darkness, there must be interaction of orbit. Now, is the black hole holding the stars, or are the stars holding the black hole? Either or, which one way around is it? The black hole holding the stars, or are the stars keeping the black hole in position? 50-50. 50-50. And then we would look at the arena itself, which is holding all of this at no matter what form that it's at, and it must remain unchanged. Permanent fixture that does not experience change. Its outcome is neutral, regardless of what is going on. However, again, it's devious because what is beyond that? Now, is there a change this side, inside? Is there a change outside? Depends on the perspective. Looking down, assuming that it is down, perhaps you see the fabric or understand it. And looking from within and out, again, what's going on beyond that? What's going on inside it? Bit of a trick question. Shake your hands in the middle. Anyway, this remains unchanged. However, there could be a change on this side and this side, which allows the medium to take place. So there you would think about it as a craft in this way. You already have the two forces here, followed in by a third. Oh, it's very interesting. And then, is there anything beyond that that actually makes it illusionary, that is not changing? However, it is changing, but in a very different way that allows this not to leach into that and that not to leach into this. Stranger things will happen. Anyway, so with the amount of time that the universe is in existence, it will only be able to get to a certain level on a periodic table. Could you imagine if you could go beyond that? Now you would look at that and think, if everything keeps acting the way that it does, well, then it's going to remain very predictable. But what happens if you leave? Do you have the ability to move stars? Right now, perhaps not. Well, actually, it's pretty easy. I think even now you could do it. But let's just assume if you had a lot of humans working together. And then perhaps you come across other life forms and different things like that. And perhaps you merge together and perhaps going to conquer onto this. And then you begin to give more pressure, more heat. Maybe you need a little bit of gravitational instability in there, so we say black holes too, whatever it may be. There are many ways to cook up elements. So multiple stars with a process of being able to hold this stuff teaches you how to contain a star. And depending on what it's orbiting, depending on what you're putting into that, and depending on where you're focusing its energy, we're talking very colossal, large stars in this, and you will be able to cook up more ingredients because naturally this would never cluster in this way. Doesn't mean that it can't. It just means that in this process, without any variables being life forms, advanced elements, and therefore advanced evolution, it makes you go, aha. Can we do that? The answer is yes. What stops you? A lot of things, right? A lot of things might at the moment. But again, if the future continues and continues and continues and continues, or is it possible? The answer is yes. Then can you create periodic table version 2, 3, and 4? Could you keep going with this process? I mean, just keep, because again, once you've reached here, what happens if you start building stars with this material? what it's going to change it very much so. And once again, the outcome goes again. Just look at it as a spectrum. You're going to change the light. You're going to change the fusion dynamics. So there's new elements going in.
Yeah.
And it is not achievable naturally, so therefore it's hidden. So naturally, this is all there is. That's a belief that you can die with. Speed of light, fastest thing. It's possible. The speed of darkness is also a factor in this because gravitational pull in versus star push out. And then how many of these do you have are like pistons in an engine? And therefore you're building more star power. But light and dark power, the more pull in, the faster you move, and the more push out, the quicker you'll go. As one unit. So if after all the black hole and we would say galaxies are beginning to merge, we are not aware of that movement.
Yeah.
And somehow we are protected in that.
Yeah.
You know, Andromeda and Milky Way on their way together.
Yeah.
So we don't realize that. So we're also moving this way, but we're also rotating and we're also rotating and we're also disc-like. It's very interesting. It's beautiful dance, delicate. So you would understand that that's particularly a smaller black hole, perhaps a bigger black hole. Who knows until it gets closer? Is Andromeda has the bigger black hole, or is it the Milky Way has the bigger black hole? And the Milky Way, I think if you look at it good enough through using some stuff that NASA has figured out, I think that there's already a part merge. There's a merge already happened in very much recent times, but not enough for us to understand it. So there's already been a merger. And then we saw life rise up, which is fascinating, really, isn't it? So isotopes over there. We are two galaxies as it is right now, merged. We're already merging. It's already happened. And the black holes themselves have not yet completed their full merger. And even with this occurring, it's already trying to devour another one. And once again, is this mass big? Therefore, is there a tug? Who's tugging who? They're essentially falling into one another, Andromeda and this, while we're still devouring another. Yes? So there's already been a merger. Now, go back to that moment. Before that moment, was there life? Now, is that about certain isotopes and certain cooking going off in that direction versus certain cooking in this direction before we rose up and had the eyes to see it? They merged, some smash-ups happened. Some of it's very beautifully and dances and poetically merges together, and some stars are unscathed. A few are not. A few are... And a few are devoured by the black hole themselves. Now, in this creating 2-to-1 ratio, almost a bit like male and female come together and create something new. These do it in a very different way. So Andromeda would be separate, and if we started looking at it in the star compositions, and they're going to have very different isotopes to what is here. And again, does this diminish life, or is this going to create it with multiple different isotopes coming together? And therefore, in the smashing, you're going to create a lot of nebula in that. And therefore, there's going to be a mix of stuff that has not been cooked up in this one, and a sprinkling over there that also hasn't been seen in this one. And that one's got things that this one hasn't got. But when they come together, and then we start to see the rising of life. Now, if we take that most of these galaxies are merging together, how many other life forms are there in this process? And is it possible that some of the things that were cooked up here, a bit like planets, so we look at Mars and you look at Venus. This is a sort of clue. And you can look at the Earth and you can look at Jupiter. They're very much similar to one another, aren't they? Very similar, right? So you would expect to see on one side, if you want to find out whether the planets and how they began to merge, create in the nebula, you would have to look at whether there is 50-50, 25 of 25, that you would see that if indeed Mars did form beside us, and indeed Venus did form beside us, then we should have composition that is very similar to one another. Because they would have maneuvered from one side to the other, and they would have basically essentially nicked each other's meals, if you like. And slowly but surely they would have run away. But however, the Earth and Venus and the other side of Venus the Earth can't reach that stuff. And there will be percentages of that stuff because when Venus moves and disrupts in the nebula, it's going to sling some things towards Earth. So we will find trace amounts of X, Y, Z that are the other side of Venus. These would be very trace amounts. However, Venus would have more of this, of a 50% ratio, and a 50% ratio of what's on the Earth. Mars, so forth, so on. Until you start finding the oddballs that, oh, your compositions are way too different. So we look at Uranus and Neptune. Eerily, they appear to be twins. So we sort of get this sort of ratio building, okay? So you could look at all of those planets and measure them all up and, composition of you is similar to you. The composition of you is similar to, oh, hang on a minute, you're an oddball. You're an oddball. You're an oddball. In this sort of delicate dance. So we understand that it's cooking up from one, cooking up from another, cooking up from one, cooking up from another. A very fascinating sort of thing. We could look at this as galaxies too, right? So certain galaxy forming over here, and a galaxy that formed over here close by it. Therefore, they're going to be sharing 50-50 percentage of one another, and we're going to see a composition, and perhaps this one reaches over here, and this one maybe reaches over here, cooks up, and this one pulls off in this direction, and this one goes in that direction. So now we have two galaxies, so we have Milky Way with life on it, in it, surrounding it. But we're also going to have another one elsewhere with very similar. And then, whatever we merged with, there is a percentage that this one was not alone. This one was not alone. This one was not alone. And wherever that rose up, it was also not alone. And therefore, you have a variable here with a similar isotope to this one that mixed with this one. Now, if this one, I assume, were to mix with this one, we should get similar life forms rise up. Fascinating. Everything is all very much binary in this nature, duality and so forth and so on. And again, with the in and out and the mix and then as they begin to merger and merger and merger, and then you can begin to understand that as the universe evolves, the life forms are going to get more intelligent with this type of process, assuming that they have life. More and more and more intelligent. Some of it's going to be too intelligent for its own good. So factor in, if it does indeed follow the same trajectory as what Earth did, there is going to be a fine balance between life forms. Too intelligent is not good enough. Not intelligent enough, definitely not good enough, but somewhere in the middle. Very interesting. So if we follow the same trajectory as here, and you factor in more, so Earth's journey, yes, many different battles, many different events, many different tragedies and different things like that. Obviously caused by humans and life forms and so forth and so on, methane and all sorts, and just natural changes and abnormal changes where we deliberately do that to one another. I mean, that's a very interesting thing. Could you imagine that more advanced? Therefore, it's going to eliminate itself very quickly. Too intelligent is never really too good. And again, there's a fine line between everything. So that's a fascinating thing. Anyway, once this has started to be built, I think that you begin to understand a little bit more quicker because you can get to places very fast. If I was ET, I think these already exist, by the way. Any intelligent life forms will sit on the fence. 50-50 mix. Would already have created this. And therefore, you maneuver the barrier of space travel. It's very slow, right? You would imagine that it's incredibly slow. How do you get past that slowness? And this. Traveling at very colossal speeds would require you to combine more of this. Therefore, you're utilizing this gravitational pull inwards with the black hole. You can control that, perhaps not in the beginning. You have to understand it. You have to learn it. A bit like the black hole learns all of the stuff that the star has made. And this is very much, the stars are learning what other stars have made. It is wisdom seeked from black holes, but also because it was one final black hole that began the journey. So it has also learned the black hole. It's a very interesting thing in order to create it. Fascinating. And also the stars are learning this and the black holes are learning that. Sort of stitching together and then unpicking it. Stitching it together and unpicking it. all of this continuing, but yet there's this layer that always remains uninteracted, neutral, very neutral. So you can't see the darkness unless that light orbits it. And again, if you look on the atomics as well, this is the same thing here. Is it empty or is there something there? To see it, it would be too noisy. So the brain deliberately nullifies it. So evolution, and in its way of sitting there saying, I feel something, and the eyes start to evolve and the ears start to evolve. And do you think it looked at it, or do you think it just was like, oh, I don't know what that is? No, it does know very much what this is. But for you to see that and this, the fact is that you will, it's too much information all at once, and it stops you existing. It stops you from existing, and you go extinct very quickly. So it has to pick one. Will you evolve to see the darkness? That's another question. Has evolution already got this in the pipelines? Because at the start, journeying partway through in the beginning, there's not much need to see, right? Not a lot to see.
Yeah.
And at the right moment, eyes need to appear. Just the right moment, they need to appear in order for you to then begin to look at this data and learn it to be able to conquer it, essentially. But it also is sort of hinting at this darkness too, because you can see it by the effects of the way this stuff orbits around the stuff that appears to be invisible and there is nothing there. As time goes on, you're going to be left with this dark void.
Yeah.
Then you will need to see it, to understand it, to be able to conquer it. And again, do you think that for part-time humans understand that therefore there might be a need to resurrect? This pushes the barrier for not all life forms. If you were to understand now, would you resurrect people from the past? It's going to be very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. Why? So you might have some certain beings that might walk.
Yeah.
Maybe God's come down, and perhaps there's more of a meaning to it than meets the eye. Even other intelligent life forms, because after all, if they're there, and they want these, like the Einsteins and the Teslas and everything else, they are going to push back to resurrect. And then you have selfless individuals who say, wait, whoa, what's up? Well, I kind of need you to resurrect everybody. That's a very selfless thing, isn't it? And then they're like, well, okay, you don't get me without them. You know, that's a sort of protection in the future. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It remains to be seen. I also believe that when resurrecting backwards, the thing is that will puzzle you, that leaves you thinking, a sort of belief that there is more than meets the eye always. But it's got to get you thinking.
Yeah.
So perhaps when you reach that certain time, people will often talk about a dome, that you will reach a dome, and perhaps humans don't like domes, and no. You love a mystery, and the mystery part of it is for this particular reason. Could you imagine when they made it to this, and perhaps they make something like this, and they're on the final supermassive black hole, but at the same time, technology has boomed, everything has progressed, every single thing that you could think of has really begun to, final black hole, and you're ready for it, yes? And as the capability happens, perhaps there's cloning, absolutely, definitely, no ifs, no buts, no maybes, and you start to build cloning and different stuff like that, but then maybe people are like, maybe we should start to resurrect the sort of nodes. But as they start to go backwards with this and begin to resurrect backwards into the bloodlines, in seeking out the treasures, let's say, that every single thing near enough is accountable on the resurrection process. However, 98% can be resurrected. Maybe we could do the 2080. Might be a bit more simple. Let's say 80% can be resurrected, okay? Forget that. 80% can be resurrected. However, no matter how much you try, 20% of that overall population just will not resurrect. What would that make you think? Well, you got to put yourself in the future, But that was their mission, to begin to resurrect the bloodlines all the way back as to hunter-gatherers and different stuff like that. Are you capable of learning multiple things at once? Well, that poses a question, doesn't it? Are you going to be resurrected with your memory intact? And it depends. If you go backwards learning, backwards remembering, backwards understanding. Let's say you're resurrected with memory intact. Perhaps not straight away, but bursts of it come. Yeah? And you sort of find your feet once again, and it's like, whoo, it was like you never left. It was like you had a very long sleep for a very long time. But you were not aware of it because of the way the cousin is almost like we sleep and we're awake. We sleep and then we're awake. It's preparing you for something perhaps not now. Doesn't make much sense now. Why do you fall asleep? Why does this behavior affect you? Why is the universe? It's prepping you. It's preparing you. Do you remember falling asleep and waking up?
No.
Do you remember the whole time that you were asleep?
No.
Nope.
That I don't remember.
Does your memory wipe when you wake up in the morning? Or do you retain it? Do you retain your memories? Or do you lose your memories?
Lose?
No, you retain them.
You retain.
So
no,
when you
I
go
meant
to bed,
from the sleep.
you go to bed,
Sorry.
you fall asleep,
Yeah.
you wake up. Do you still remember who you are?
Yeah, sorry.
Do you still remember what you've done, the life you've lived, your memories?
Yeah.
So in that process, life then is preparing you for something that maybe you can't. And right now, even to say this, it's a hell of a lot of faith, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit like death, where you have this existence. And you remember the existence. Perhaps it will feel like a dream.
Yeah.
That it comes back to you in dream states.
Yeah.
The thing is that you will be able to resurrect an awful lot of 80%, but 20% is impossible to resurrect. However, this 20% have built most of the structures that you all live in, exist in, that allowed you to leap towards where you're at now.
Yeah.
What type of questioning would that leave all of you, including you now, including everything? What would that make you think? Where is the 20%? Who were they? Were they really here? Are you all fooling us? No, we're not. They came, they did this. Look, the video proved this, and prove it. But how do we know you didn't edit this? How do we know that this is not fake, that this is not AI, this is not CGI? But it created all of this stuff, perhaps. Maybe it did all of this stuff, perhaps. Maybe it created all of that stuff, perhaps. It must have been here, but yet its presence remains. That would be a very fascinating thing, which would then get you thinking again. There must be more to this. And once again, the journey begins again. Just when you were just on the verge of figuring everything out and crossing all of and ticking all of the boxes, and then all of a sudden you're hit with something like that. How would that make you think? And what would you think? Where are these?
Yeah, exactly.
Puzzle you, yes?
Yeah.
And then once again, you would try to, so it'll answer 80% of your questions.
Yeah.
Give you the answer to the questions that you needed. Why do you go to sleep? Why do you wake up? Do you remember the sleep? No. Do you remember waking moments? The only time you ever remember sleep is when the brain gives you thoughts. When you dream, essentially. Are you aware of time when you sleep? That's interesting. Have you felt consistent sleep? So no matter when you fall asleep, it is always the same, and your window of understanding time is exactly the same, no matter when you sleep and how much sleep you've had. Here's a test for you. Guess when you wake up how many hours you've been asleep for. Do not check your watch. Do not read the time, and I need you to give me an accurate account of how much time has elapsed. In the day, you're conscious, right? So you can check these things, but when you're asleep, you cannot. Time means nothing, yes? But during a day, if it's stressful, does it go slow? Sometimes. If you're excited, does it go fast? Sometimes. If you're excited, can it sometimes go slow? Yes, absolutely. So awareness of this perceiving of time is a very strange thing, yes? And you tend to remember waking, but you don't remember sleeping. Almost like you forgot. Death is the same. It's temporal. If you get to the end, it is temporal. Interesting. This mystery will trigger something, and it's nice to have you thinking about it now, actually, that, you know, because it looks like, is it or isn't it? Could this be or might it be? And I love it, because it's right in the middle of all of, ooh, wait, what? Only some will be Then you might start thinking, well, perhaps these were very bad people, and maybe it was because they gave us the cheat code to survive. And then some might argue, yes, but maybe they were deities or something. Maybe, and again, the whole thing reignites again. Just when you thought that it was all finished and the journey is still not over, would be the main point that you would take from that. And again, death would be no more. Technically it would. You would still be born and die, but you would still exist simultaneous of birth and death, but you would understand birth and death more intimately. Now, there is something hidden in birth and death that you're not allowed to know. Isn't that interesting? Right now, you're not allowed to know it. Why? Why? Why are you allowed to know it then, but you can't know it now? Are you responsible enough as a species? Are the species responsible enough?
No.
Could you imagine getting with other life forms that have the same conundrum? Oh, the stories you could create from that. The books you would write, the religion you would create, the worship would be reignited. Oh, the possibilities will be truly endless. And now you are like, great, we just answered all of these questions, but now we've got all of these. The questioning process begins once again. You will never reach a dome, ever. It is not possible to do so. Anyway, still, and the purpose of that, I will leave that a mystery because it is beautiful to do so. I leave you guessing. What could be the answer for that? Anyway, you would find that their presence remain, but they don't. And you can't bring them back. And that would be very interesting, wouldn't it? Like they never existed, but yet very much did exist. That would be quite a fluke. Visible, yet so invisible. Present, yet not seen. Do you reckon they're a part of the ship? Do you reckon they are the ship? Could they be the stars? What is a black hole? It would be an interesting process. Anyway, but still, moving on with this sort of stuff. And anyway, and hereditary social media accounts as well. I mean, to be able to evolve that, which evolves your understanding. Anyway, so galaxies in this aspect start from a singularity where everything always expand and come together and sort of taken in part from here, part from there, part from here. Easier in the beginning to understand that the stars bring in this half and half. We understand it with the planets. Yes, some rogue and some are sent out and some are ejected. And well, if this happens in galaxy smashes, then there are pieces of variables buggering off to other galaxies by a rogue and then are captured. And then there's a small trace amount of this, and what would the life look like? So before humans rose, there was a massive galaxy smash, and the clues are right there. If you look at them with the mind and eyes to see and understand that you can build a lot of theories around that. Yes, there is a merger. So let's go back to how old that is. NASA, give it a date of birth, how long ago that happened. And that will give you an inkling of how old perhaps the life began to come together, at least clump together. It gives you an origin point. That the remnants and the building and the mixing and the advanced elements come together. Wonderful. It took a long time to cook over there in many different star system, different composition and isotopes. without those isotopes mixing with these isotopes, and you've got variables of isotope on these, which is like 50% on there. It's not quite perfect like that.
Yeah.
It's not like 50-50, not 100%.
Yeah.
And then you've got trace amounts of where this one was cooked versus this one was cooked, and its journey of traveling is also scooping up some more isotopes. This also changes life, shapes life, evolves life, creates more understanding, less understanding in certain aspects. Things drop away, things accumulate, clump together and stick together, and some things just fragment and dissolve away into nothing. It doesn't matter, it just helps you get to this part. And then you're looking at this and thinking, oh, is there any other life out there? Oh, yes, there is. Absolutely. No ifs or buts. It's a certainty because you already cooked up here. Maybe it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same, but I think that will pose another question, wouldn't it? That if you found these life forms, they are part you anyway.
Yeah.
And they rose at a particularly similar time as you did. And it would almost be like looking at yourselves. Very surreal experience, which then kind of relaxes you down a little bit to the possibility of other life forms. And maybe they have pieces of the puzzle in them that's missing in you, and you have pieces of the puzzle that they need. The battle between the two means you lose a piece of the puzzle. Interesting. Interesting, isn't it? And therefore, you would understand that then if this has happened here, and do you think that there is a sort of pull between you, invisible, until met? And here's another thing, presence is a creepy thing, isn't it, really? What if something very slowly began to make a sort of frequency and shapes the planets and everything else in a frequency that builds very slowly?
Yeah.
And then once gone, something feels like it's missing. It's like Christmas. When you pull out all of the trimmings and you go all into town everywhere, and there's lots of trimmings everywhere. It's all very busy, beautiful color, beautiful tree, wonderful decorations. And then at the end of Christmas, you put away all of the trimmings and everything else, and the whole house looks very bare, very empty.
Yeah.
The presence has gone.
Yeah.
Amazing how quickly it comes and how it disappears. And then, how does that make you feel when you put it all away? A little bit sad, right?
Yeah.
A little bit,
Always. Yeah.
something's missing. But it's unlucky, and we'll be superstition, and we must put it away, because if not, we're going to have like 1 billion years worth of bad luck. Interesting. Do you ever think life can be like that? And what type of effect does that have on life? Something so very simple, so very stupid, so insignificant that something happens very small and the presence is gone. Or what does that do to the structures that stand after that? Frequencies, right?
Frequency.
And the more that it's rubbed off, the more it stays. The more that it is not, well, then there will be a change. Anyway, never remains the same. It's still, I will dive into that one in another video, but still. So over this universe, there's only going to cook up so many ingredients, but you yourselves could cook more and beyond. And with your amount of time, there is only so much you can cook up, and then there is a limit to this stuff. But there again, is there truly a limit? Can you really find the threshold on the spectrum of all of this stuff? It's going to require more, because the things will get more and more dense, which then might make you looking at cloning stuff more so, in the desperation to clone. And you begin to clone, and as you do so, you begin to increase what was once. It's a very beautiful thing to be able to expand that. Then what's the limit of this expansion and this skin that is unaffected. How far can it go? How much more can you clone? Is there a limit? No, I don't think there is. It's unlimited. And then how much of this expansion versus pushing down to bring it together and clone more hydrogen to bring it into more of, let's say we're going here. When you're reaching here, if you understand this, is a very weird thing. Is there enough in the universe, matter, it is, or gas, to reach this point here? To reach this point here means that you have all of this massive, massive abundance and this, oh, it's so vast. But when you start to go here and beyond, well, let's say that it's 80%, I don't know. This is going to jump down 60%. And you could keep going 30% until you then reach a limit that you can't make any more because there wouldn't be enough to go around and there wouldn't be enough to keep the functioning universe going. And that becomes a desperate thing, right? So what happens if you reach a 30% and have a small amount of hydrogen and then are able to expand it back at 80%? You then become the heaviest thing in the universe. By the way, that's an interesting thing. But at this density, everything is going to orbit you. You become the center of the universe. Now, that's an interesting thing. Everything is going to begin to orbit you because you're so heavy of compacting this stuff. And you're going to clone and compact and then clone and compact and clone and compact. To be able to reach even more, even more, even more, even more, even more. Even darkness begins to stick. Well, you have to expand both and clone both. So do you think there's a trimester for humans that where they see this? And they're very much intimate with this, knowledgeable life forms. But then this is going to all but disappear. But you're going to be left with a lot of this. Do you then, will your eyes then evolve to be able to see this?
Who knows?
Yeah, tools, right? Tools. Life forms in the future then. They're going to probably be able to see things very different to you. Do you actually need to see both? Or could this put the pressure on to resurrect, find a way to go backwards? Because their senses were attuned to this. And after all, if they're reaching at the final of the black hole, they're seeing the black hole, they're seeing everything. They can see all of that stuff, but they cannot see this. But everything that could see it led to the point to help them have a platform to be able to see that. And it's very interesting because their understanding of that is going to be far more advanced than your understanding of this. Then they go through the final massive black hole, perhaps create the instability. They don't want to wait too long, blah, 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 blah. Still keeping in the respect of everything. I probably wouldn't leave it alone, but still, and then, doosh. Where's it all gone? Where is it? And then these stars start forming once again, but they can't see it. The darkness they understand very well and see it and know how to utilize, but they can't see the light. What are we going to do? There must be something there. Oh, look at this tool here. Look. What is this? And now, future is in the reverse of what you are. So if we imagine hunter-gatherers, and we go back even beyond that, assuming that you were living in the cycles way before that, before darkness, neutrinos even made a black hole. The darkness was still very much present, but nothing was orbiting it. Not come together yet. Still there. You, back then, if you were existing then and nothing was orbiting, and neutrinos hadn't come along, well, would you believe that there was such things as darkness?
No.
No. So you would then resurrect for one side of humanity can see and know this, very trustworthy, and then perhaps another side of humanity after a cycle are able to see this very clearly. Somewhere is the middle, the bridge is the education, that both of these humans on both sides would have to come together to be able to join this together with the information to be able to really go advanced again, again and again and again and again. To be able to join both sides to create a, well, sort of middle ground, yes? And there's just stuff that you will never learn, but you will be very intimate with this, but they will be very intimate with that, and less of this. And it bridged the gap. Anyway, by then you probably have assumed that technology would have been very much advanced and everything else, and you might be able to bridge the gap by being able to see it, but their knowledge of it is going to be far more intimate, and your knowledge of this is going to be far more intimate, and you will teach the database teaches this, blah, 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 one or another, somewhere along the line, the next gens will be able to be very intimate in that. Yeah, very advanced, very interesting. Anyway, I'm probably going to dwindle off on this one, and what type of existence for you would that be?
What? I'm not sure I understand the question. What type exists?
If you, never mind. If I was living in that moment, or a future, it's so hard to put your mind there, probably. Well, what could you do with that capability? Anyway, I'm probably going to leave this one here. I'm going to wind this one down. I'm losing my train of thought, to be honest. It's a very stuck conversation right now.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yes, it's very difficult to teach this stuff. It is, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Gravitational pull. In versus out. One versus the other.
Both moving in the same direction.
Yeah. Yes. But to be able to see both, evolution picked one that was most favorable. Ain't no good seeing the darkness.
Yeah.
It would scramble absolutely everything. You probably wouldn't be able to see stars because the darkness, you would be seeing the antimatter, the dark energy, whatever you want to call it. You would be too busy being able to see it.
Yeah.
And therefore, would this lead for you to leave the planet? No, because there's no point. Why? Because we know that you can't travel through that stuff. You see it, you can interact with it. Then would you see further stars, distant stars? Probably not. Would you be able to perceive light? Probably not. Anyway, still, even with the cooking up with these different elements, you're going to change compositions of stars. That's the thing. What happens if you cook a load of stars from this? But you needed to understand this periodic table and the universe and different things like that as a standard, which you do. You can look at it and blah, 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 blah. And you begin to move with the stars and push the elements beyond, which you would then say would be advanced elements that the universe would never have enough time to cook up on its own. You begin to cook this up. Now, if you begin to build stars from this, they're going to be very different. However, trick question is that you could not create these without knowing this.
Yeah, you need the
and then you need this to be able to do this. And then you need the platform from this in order to be able to build a platform from that, to be able to keep going, to reach this. Then you're going to have different light.
Yeah.
And your understanding of that light. And potentially you could have different darkness. That's an interesting thing. Very interesting. And you're going to have some of the most strongest things in the observable universe because you made it. The universe would never create this.
Yeah.
But it created you. Not saying that it could never do it, because it clearly can. But I wonder what the test is for you to learn. And then keep going, and keep going. And what do you think the stars would look like? What do you think a galaxy would look like? And before you know it, you got version 1, but you can create version 2. But you could not create version 2 without at least understanding version 1. And observing the way all of this comes together teaches you, which then preps you for version 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Okay. What is life? How does life respond to this stuff? We're making a super light, super darkness. You are now advancing the elements, so you now have super advanced elements.
Yeah.
But it came from advanced elements and therefore advanced life forms and therefore advanced evolution in order to create this. Then you're really on your own, really, aren't you? Something that could not be perceived by evolution, but yet felt. You feel that there is more, so you begin to experiment, and then, after all, there is more. And therefore, more and more and more. And imagine being able to know and see all of this. You become very, very complex.
Yeah.
But in stages. Not everyone is going to be interested in this. Mostly will be interested in this. But how does life respond? What happens to nature, assuming nature is still? What happens to animals, assuming animals are still? What happens to you in this environment? Is it more pure? Well, it's definitely going to be longevity, especially from hunter-gatherers. That was all they were really trying to do, was make things last as long as possible. Only in recent times do we make things that break very quickly. That's that's bizarre, but still, that would change. Could you imagine if you were resurrected in a future that was all about longevity, and your standpoint was consumerism and making things break very quickly, whereas they would make a company open its door, everybody gets something, and then they close the doors. Company doesn't disappear, it just goes dormant, it hibernates. Then the population begins to expand a little bit more, and then they open the company and once again push all of this stuff out to the populace. Once they've got enough, close the door, the company becomes dormant, hibernates. Maybe there is then enough of whatever it may be to circulate and last a very long time. And you would have a lot of this. Well, the future would.
Yeah.
But they would evolve to understand that things would open and close like flowering. You only need it for a season in order to do a job, and then it closes. Now, from your standpoint, now it's all about make things break, to make things consume, to make things so that a business stands for as long as possible, and the longevity becomes the company. So we might make it a little bit brittle, deliberately. We might make it a little bit more a little bit more brittle. So that would be a hell of a contrast. And there again, to resurrect. I mean, many would say that we would probably be arrogant, maybe, stuck in our ways. And therefore, could you ever adjust to a situation like that? Or would you start building things that were brittle in order to make a company that lasts as long as possible, regardless of where humanity goes, when the objective is to make humanity last as long as possible, and everything else is secondary to that? It's a fascinating thing, isn't it? So things open for a time, close for a bit. Population either is stable or it expands further, and therefore there will then be a demand, picks up. Slowly but surely the company begins to rise again, and perhaps the resources are put into it, and there you are, it closes again. Resources, the knowledge of how to do that remains. The ones that created that process, also still the memory and their good job to do, rah. Open, close, resources on, in, out. There's enough, close, resources stop, actually are diverted into something else. After all, the resources will be quite precious after a while. Again, assuming that you make it. Never mind becoming the strongest thing, but also becoming the most densest thing. Everything has to orbit you. It's a very fascinating thing. And then what type of a solar system can you make from this? Universe. What life cooks up on that? The universe can stay in this perpetual system over and over and over and over again. And it doesn't need to really go beyond that if you can go beyond it. And therefore, Lifeforms version 1 versus Lifeforms version 2, version 3, version 4. What happens if you contain this and then begin to allow it to have the processes that were much, much like what you have seen and have experienced, different worlds, cooking up ingredients in different ways, where we have oceans that grind things, so tide back and forth, the water's molecular structure, which is what H2O, isn't it? And it also likes to pull things apart and push things together, and wow, just all that weird and wonderful stuff. Wind erosion, heating, cooling, but never going too far into the heat, stable at one end and drops down at another. And then you've got different ingredients coming in over time whilst it's rotating, and then you've got different compositions on the star, and just lots of things cooking up stuff, breaking it down, mixing, churning, all of that going on. You would think of it as a cauldron, every planet, different things cooking up in different ways, different stars cooking very similar to one another, different isotopes and one another. And then you begin to contain something like this and allow that same process to run inside this containment. How is it going to affect the life forms? Is there going to be any life come from that? Is it going to be more? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? Is it going to be... You'll watch that in awe, but also confusion. And you will be learning the same way as these life forms, perhaps, if they rise up in that. The way it comes together and splits apart and gets churned and smashed and crashed and broken and rebuilt and broken and rebuilt and broken and rebuilt. Some of it goes into a star, some of it has respite, some of it has this, some of it has that, some of it's cooked up in a black hole, some of the black holes don't quite make it in the beginning. They sort of get a little bit of time to get going. Sort of neutrinos not perfect. They don't just pop out of black hole and it's all, wow, look at all. No, a bit more. The black holes have got to, they don't last very long in the beginning. They're very much don't last very long. Little bit longer, little bit longer, little bit longer, little longer. Now stability. Now a bit more permanent. Temporal permanence, but still, in a grand scheme of things, they're a bit more permanent. This begins to cook up, blah, 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 blah. Then that process starts to kick in and there's more of a permanent structure, and it gets more quicker and more advanced, and these ones can't keep up with it, meaning the stars coming together, and therefore it then begins to win, essentially. This one then begins to knock the balance out. These ones begin to diminish in, and then once again this one pops, and then this one is dropped. This one begins to start again, and the process over and over and over and over and over. Yeah. You like things on repeat. You always keep repeating, keep saying the stuff over and over again. Yes, said the ones in a universe that is doing this over and over again, and over again in orbits, and over again in empires, and over again in the same shit that we do over and over again. Yes, absolutely right. Thanks for stating the obvious. Just, I don't know if you're stating it to me because I'm going over and over, or you're stating it to yourself. You're just not quite realizing what you're actually saying. Over and over again with the day-night cycle, over and over again with you going to sleep, waking up, going to sleep, waking up, going to sleep, waking up. I love that. It's my favorite saying when people say that, you know. We're just going round in circles. Damn right we are. Yes, I agree. Circles, or do we mean cycles? Rather fitting, really, isn't it? I mean, that's usually a dig, isn't it? A dig to say that at someone. We just keep going round and round in circles. Yes, like orbits. Yes, like satellites. That's why we're communicating, isn't it? Oh, yes, like a diminish and rebuild, diminish, rebuild. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing. I love that saying, don't you? I love hearing it when people say it. It's like an insult, but it's also a kind of a secret joke with the universe, you know, like, they get it, they just need a little nudge. Yeah, it's a sort of, it's a diminishment thing, but who's really diminishing who in this, if we're, do you not like the cycles? Do you like the cycles? Like the tides back and forth? Do you like the cycles?
I'm used to them, yeah.
Like the seasons and the cycles?
Yeah.
Shit me, you miss them when they're gone. Hate them whilst you go through it, and you miss it when it's gone. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Well, that's if you live long enough Could you imagine that, living thousands of years and billions of years and maybe a full cycle? Multiple
You
cycles.
would see a lot, and you would see more cycles than
You would see a
No,
lot
no,
more
yeah.
cycles and the smaller cycles that you started with, and therefore you would have the awareness to know where you came from
Yeah.
with those small cycles.
Yeah.
And then you're in these grander scheme of cycles, and how does it change your awareness when you live for eternity, so to speak?
Yeah.
And then, oh, there's another clone. Yep, diminishing this one. Okay, there's another death. Do you not like cycles? Do you know, like going around in circles then? Oh, going around in circles and we're getting nowhere. Well, actually, I beg to differ. I think we're getting somewhere. Just a little bit, you know, it's just a little bit. It's a forging process.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then you kind of let go of those cycles, and then you gain these cycles. And then your perception of it.
Yeah.
Again, to a mayfly existence, it's a very... But if you live longer, which technically exist is the correct term, you still die and you still are born, just not in the same way.
Yeah.
But you never truly stop existing in this cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. But your existence, and you aware of your existence and knowing this exists, it's a very hell of a contrast to being born, stop the clock, time limit, go! You're on the firing line, you live in this life, and oh my God, look at you, you're doing this, and we're sort of doing that, and then die. Yes?
Yeah.
That's small cycles, but then again, now we're going to go, and now you're going to keep on existing. Now the universal cycle now becomes, you've met one, then two, then three, then four. I wonder if, because you're no longer dying now, so you're no longer coming away from that, that becomes the new cycle. How long do you think it goes? Do you think it's quicker? Do you think some cycles are faster and slower? Actually, they're exactly the same, but it just seems like it's faster or slower. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like stepping back, stepping back, stepping back. The universe is like, I see your cycles. Yeah, I'm going to offer you these cycles. In exchange for what? More cycles! We're on a grander scheme now. Got any more? Later. See, there's a lot of churning, a lot of mixing. But yeah, in these particular cycles, these possibilities are endless, huh?
Yeah.
Is the universe weird to you? Or did it just get weirder? Even though it's not a word, but still it is now. But it frickin' should be. If you think this was strange, I don't know if we could call this bizarre. Is there a word strong enough for that?
Maybe. Yeah.
If I had more time. Interesting. What would you do with it? What would you truly do with it?
Yeah. Some people do not use their time very well. Some people use it somehow.
Well, the first thing that will happen when you're able to live for a very long time is you would like to be able to home awareness. To be multiple things simultaneously, but be able to split your awareness. So then you could exist as many things at once, right? Because you would engineer it. And where you focus, almost like focusing, sort of. It is and it isn't. You'd be in multiple places at once, but your awareness would flip between which version and where you are. That would be a weird... What a type of travel that is. Instantaneous travel. The long, arduous journey, but it's all right, you got time to be able to split yourself, multiple clones in multiple different areas of the universe. I mean, getting there on this side of the galaxy, this side of the galaxy, this side of the galaxy, assuming that there is a planet to harbor. If there isn't one for you to exist on or reside on, you would make one. And you would make a star system by the time of cooking up certain types of star systems. Well, we understand the sun, we understand history, we understand the Earth and Goldilocks zone and this, and it requires this. Huh. Put you anywhere, my friend, and you might be able to, from a nebula, okay, I need a little bit of this. Look at this, I'm doing God's work. Look at this. A little bit of this, cook up the star. All right, that gets the star going. Right, well, you're going to need a planet. Okay, but the planet, what did the planet need? All of these things, right? Okay, at this ratio. Okay, sprinkle in a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh, there we are, it's a planet, and now star orbiting. Well, I'm familiar with this. We're going to place it right there. Just because we just want to do it in this particular example. Whoops. So you're going to put it right there, and you maybe put another one there. Perhaps there's already one habitable there and there. Again, you want to build it from scratch, it's up to you. Or you would find one that was very similar and be like, that'll do. Don't mind if I'm just going to borrow some of this and mix that with that. Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I can breathe on here. Okay, right. So even being here, right, how long would it take you to get from there to there to there to there? Well, current standard, it would not be worth doing it, right? Because it would take too long, a lifetime, to even be able to get from point B, A to B, and from B to C, so forth and so on, right? But now you got eternal life. Well, you would just need to drop yourselves in these particular areas, and just for pure in understanding, maybe you want to cook up some life with some of these on here, and you want to do this, this, and this. Now here's the thing, right? Once there, and on these fixed points, orbiting around here, you then have a clone of yourself. Here, 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 and here. And capability to keep the life and death cycle, as long as you've got the ingredients, build the planet, and perhaps, and have the nature and different things like that, assuming. And you've always got this birth and death, but also this constant existence here, 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 and here. Now, you want to be able to home in your awareness. Now, let's say you're living on a ship. The main you is here, nice and protected, just in case anything happens here, right? Because these are very temperamental. You're surrounded with a nice, lovely skin here that remains unchanged, which keeps you nice and protected in here. And you just shift your awareness from here to here. And now you're fully aware of existing here, and you forgot about this. And this, and this, and this. And then, whilst you're there, you shift your awareness, and now you're here. And then you shift your awareness just like that. You don't need to really do much. It's a weird thing. You just think it and you're there. Your awareness. Just go and you're there. It took you, let's say, 150 billion years to even be able to get in multiple places at once. But once there, all it takes is your awareness just to shift. And you are there within a split of a moment. Now you're there. Now you're there. Now you're here. Fascinating. Then you might want to start engineering your awareness to be in multiple places at once. And then if you're engineering cloning and you find other life forms, could you also be there too, and also be there too, and also be there too, and there, and there, and there? The objective would be to get there first. So in the beginning of the universal cycle, when it first starts to become spring, we know that the universe is going to expand itself, yes?
Yeah.
It's going to expand. But if you strategically place yourself here, here, and here, and here in the beginning, you're going to end up in multiple different areas simultaneously. Then all you've got to do is just shift your awareness. Then you know that there are life forms on multiple of these areas, and you can bounce around the universe without ever needing a craft, whilst being nicely tucked away here. Now, if that's called your heaven, then that is what it is. And you can be with multiple life forms because you look at those and think, right, okay, we're going to need to make an avatar. Why? Because if you go down looking like you're going to scare the shit out of them. But these are dumb. Okay, so they're on the verge of becoming intelligent? Yes. Then just go there. You could probably blend in as you are. And they would just look at you like a tree. Yes, because it's natural, because you grew in that environment, you know? A bit like taking animals, really, isn't it? And rearing them all together from young. They don't really notice their differences, right? Done this myself. This is very interesting, and I find it very fascinating that when they grow together, they're less inclined to eat each other. You sort of turn off predator and prey.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Anyway, so that's one way to do it, or perhaps you need an avatar. Now, whether that's artificially inseminating, there's one way to do it, I guess. Go down, put a little seed in there. Anyway, who really minds that? But still, your awareness just shifts from one part of the universe to another by letting the universe do the hard work for you. It's going to expand. And you can be in multiple places at once with multiple life forms with the capability to rendezvous with them. Your awareness, your intelligence, your understanding is far more than these life forms before they start getting together, before they start understanding what they are. Yours is already so much more advanced because you've already traversed, yes?
Yeah.
So you're standing back with the capability already. And you just need to wait in torpor mode.
Yeah.
Autonomously, it's going to do it automatically, this cloning process. So for every time that the vessel is there, waiting, and it's just sort of sleeping, waiting. Still functioning, just waiting. And in moments, you're in awareness. Oh, okay. Yeah, life is still not good. Go back to awareness elsewhere, where life might be a little bit more evolved, a little bit more getting to grips. But you're just waiting. In the meantime, whilst you're there in the awareness, oh, they look like this. Feed it into your database, assuming you have computer, and it's already built you an avatar. But until then, you need to go in torpor mode. And in torpor mode, your awareness is shut down on that vessel, your vessel, part of you. But you are still living and in this particular state, but suspended, and you're still dying and being reborn in that moment, in that torpor. That all gets on with it autonomously. You're more of like in an animal state. Could you imagine humans leaving the planet and finding sort of like a sort of sleeping being somewhere? Like, what the fuck is that? I don't know, it looks pretty much, I don't know, it's not moving. Hello? And it's just sort of, yeah, it's in its torpor mode, right?
Yeah.
And you're looking at it and you'll be like, wait, what's going on? Well, it's dying. And then all of a sudden, birth clone. Wait, is it cancer? What is that? Well, it starts to grow. Okay, and then this one dies. And then again, you can stay in that particular motion for as long as possible, just cloning in this particular state. And then all of a sudden it wakes up. Wait, what the fuck are you doing it? Oh, shit. You would have been found out, so you probably want to hide yourself in that particular thing, because you would think forwards, right? That the life forms would be very curious. If they saw something, they would probably go and investigate it.
Yeah.
Anyway. So being here is asleep, being here is asleep, being here is asleep, but there is life harboring on planets. It's just whether it will evolve into an intelligent life or whether it won't. If it does, you're already there. You just have to come into awareness every now and then and have a little check. Yeah, no, not yet. Telescope, you say? They would never think at a hunter-gatherer stage that anything is going to be looking down upon them. Well, they did, but perhaps before hunter-gatherer stage, you would never be thinking it. Because you would be thinking superiority, right? That you're the most advanced thing that they ever walked the earth. There is nothing else. Look, see? Nothing. And you start getting to grips with a language, and then all of a sudden this awareness is looking down at you, and oh, now they are understanding. Now they're communicating. Okay. Next phase. What is it? To go down there with them, mingle with them, the sort of 20-80% ratio. Anyway, again, this can be, any of these things can be, yeah. Like you existed but didn't exist, but because you didn't exist with the species, you sort of merged with it. Well, there's nothing to resurrect, is there?
Yeah.
So 20% perhaps. Well, I know they're here somewhere. We just know it. Like, look at all this shit. But again, this might be another way to look at it. But yeah, you can be everywhere and nowhere simultaneously and be aware in multiple places. Multiple places. Just sort of in your own mind, sort of bouncing between the mental health, you say? No, this is reality. You could do this. And they would never suspect it because they're too primitive. Whether you would help them or not. That would be a entirely different situation. And how many of them are there? Maybe there's just one.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe just one. Maybe just a few. Just a few. Well, this one's special. Yes. Do you think if you were ever lifted, that you would have requirements?
What requirement? I don't know.
Well,
They
one,
will-
you'd get past all of that stuff and walk into a world of like existence of never dying. It would unlock you more than your species. Could unlock the whole species. But could also unlock a few. Look, don't want you to panic. Is there anything you could get that would make you feel more relaxed? Well, I had a partner. Okay. And they are? One condition. That if they're still living, no. But I love them so much, I really want to be around them. And perhaps don't want to watch all of this. Why? Because, since you've passed, that they've kind of... Never mind. It's probably disease you don't see any of this, actually, and... Cognitive dissonance. Hello, sir. Where am I? Am I in heaven? Not quite. Not quite. Okay, now you have a partner here, but you also got this one here. Oh my god, I thought you died. But technically they did, and so did you, but this is kind of awkward, to say the least, and they chose you while I was choosing them. And they then chose you. And the mum. So if you're not keen on with mum-in-law, now's your chance. Well, where do I go if I say no? Meet your maker. Assuming there is one. But take your time. We've got eternity. Eternity? Yeah. Take your pick, Now, what would you like? Well, I kind of like this one, but I also want that one as well. For fuck's sake. The never-ending story of requirements, Anybody else? Yes, my grandma. Okay. Consider it done. And what about my whole bloodline? How many of you are ever going to say the whole fucking species? Just one. That's all it takes. I like all of the humans that we resided with. None of them were bastards. Yeah, you come on. That's like the golden ticket.
Yeah.
You said something that was never been said before. I wonder which would be the first. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Selfless as fuck that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Resurrect you all. You want the whole species. You don't want much, do you? We're going to be here a while. Do you know, I wasn't planning on staying here for very long. But you want the whole fucking species? Yes. Meet your maker. Bye. Whole species. Oof. Anyway, but as long as everybody's all on the same page. A weird way to think about things. Do you ever think about things like this?
Not much, no.
Not much?
No.
With anything that you can think of. Anything you want. Absolutely anything. You can go to bed just before you're drifting off to sleep, slumber and everything else, and you can think of anything. Not regulated, you have freedom to do so.
Yeah.
But what do you think about? Not that. Well, I am thinking about this shit.
I go to bed and I drift.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So even with this sort of stuff, does it ever play on your mind to think what that would be like?
Yeah, some futuristic future. Yeah.
If you don't want really good night thoughts, don't talk to me. I'll give you something to chew on. Just going to take a few patches for the next 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the dreams on those things are incredible.
Okay.
Well, and then come and listen to some of my content, and we got the recipe for the best thoughts ever at night. Yeah, it enhances your mind. Could you imagine that? What type of humanity would you need for everyone to sort of say everybody, even your enemies? I didn't have any. You didn't. What about these bastards over here? Yeah, I want them too. Well, I can see why I chose you. No, they're just sort of,
Yeah.
Fascinating. Now I reckon most of them will be like, fuck them. What did it ever do for me? Yeah, maybe. But yeah, no, your thoughts are your own, and whatever you can think up is up to you, really, isn't it? So if you ever had the choice...
Yeah.
So what would you want in that aspect?
What would I want, like to dream of, or what do you mean? What would I want in us?
And know if you were collected by something and it was to calm you down, what would be a significant reassuring factor? First thing you would pick is your family that passed. But would it be your whole bloodline?
I don't know. I didn't think about my whole
What
bloodline.
okay, so what would you want?
Family I know, probably.
Let's say you
I know
die,
about, yeah. I would like to see
but
my...
something gets you.
I would like to see my grandfather. I never knew.
So just one.
No, not just one, but for example, yeah.
Yeah, so default setting is just... It's very normal, by the way. Don't worry about that. But
my
just some family, just grandma. So yeah, bloodline, pretty much, and it doesn't stop there, and because then they would have a requirement.
And
so, how are you doing? Well done. Okay, so you would like to see grandfather. Hello, grandfather. How are you doing? Where the hell am I? Do you know this person? Oh, I feel a lot better. Good, good. Is there any requirements that you would need? I need my wife, okay? Hello, wife, well done. Do you know grandfather? Yes, well done. Do you know God's work would never ever fucking end, would it? Go on then, is there anything you would like to reassure you in this moment whilst we're all reassuring each other? Well, I have a requirement. I would like this person. Oh. You can pick anybody you want. Anything you want. Pets, they're next.
yeah.
Well, can I interest you in any nature? Nope. Oh, okay then.
Yeah,
Right, next,
some
next,
nice-
and then next, and next, and nice to meet you, and next, and very nice to
nice
meet you, and
some nice places to see. Yeah. I don't know.
yeah, sure. Memory, living inside a thought.
Not memory, just some nice places, like, I don't know, nature.
It would be far simpler to resurrect in this aspect because you wouldn't be there. Rules, you can't tell them. Would you guide? You would be tempted that you would want to help your bloodline, wouldn't you? That were still living. That would be something else that you would ask for next. It is guaranteed you would ask that your bloodline will be protected. Well, what's happening to my family whilst they're still there? Yes. To see would be to be tempted. Tempted to do what? To alter, to play with, to influence, to rise them up, would you?
Yeah.
That would then become very artificial in a very natural sense. In a very natural, artificial sort of way. And therefore you might start making things easier for your family that is still existing, yes? That would probably be something else as well. That's another one. Rules. You're not allowed to do that. Could you handle that?
I don't know.
Or would you want to watch, but helplessly? You couldn't help them. You couldn't prevent them from doing anything, maybe guiding slightly in a weird sort of way, but you couldn't physically do anything about their fate.
Not like watch all the time, just to be able to see maybe.
But if you could, would you? Or would you leave them to do what they needed to do? And assuming that you had all of these choices at your leisure.
They should do what they need to do, shouldn't they? think-
Well, there's a big difference between should and could and can and would. There's a lot of differences between all of those things. Having the ability to do so. So then we'd have to factor in something else, that perhaps you would need to be multiple generations. I really like this one. I'm going to put them on over here for a bit. Fast forward reality a little bit. Just let it run. You're in torpor. You don't know what. Okay, right. Enough time has gone past. Okay. But there again, that poses a problem, because the next one would then want the next one, which would then lead towards that. And in that thinking process of wanting and receiving would probably catch up, and that would be faster wanting that would out exceed. Okay, resurrecting, next one. Oh shit, we've paralleled. Why have we paralleled? Because now the ones here, I can't do anymore. Why? Because they're still living. God, this would be such a pain in the ass, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine someone picking everybody? What type of society would need to be built for everyone to actually pick everybody? What about your enemies? Oh, I don't know about that. Okay, we're going to need to do some tests. What are those tests? Got to do some learning. Maybe some unlearning mixed in with a little bit of new learning. And yeah, once again, it could probably. Anyway, you can add in anything you want to this and take away what you want. But yeah. And do you think a question that is asked that is unusual and has never been asked before to the populist, and then it gets asked, and depending on the answer, proves whether you are ready or not for that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I've never thought about it. That's interesting. Never thought about it.
No.
Then are you truly ready for something to go beyond, or have you settled for death? Most people would love to pick death, right? Depends on what they did. Here's another one for you. Lot of shit that they did, and you resurrect them. Because they understood that death was the way out. Secret safe and everything else. Yeah, there's kind of a problem with that now, isn't there? So, did you want to... I'm okay, thanks. You are? I did a lot of bad shit when I was living, and just the thought of people knowing it, all of these fucking know it, and whether you are here or not, I mean, can you walk through shame? Oh, they've all done their stuff, but you are the fucking prize winner on this. I mean, do you want to... No, I'd pass. Oh, okay, meet your maker. Bye. Interesting, isn't it? You would be surprised. That would probably be the most common. Anyway. Assuming that shame is a feeling and feelings are a part of the soul, and Is this why living a clean life is a... We all love perfection, don't you?
No.
Everybody loves perfection.
Perfect.
They craft their frickin' images so well. Look how I'm turning up to the world! I can look in that. Okay, maybe we shouldn't look.
Yeah, look at me, I'm perfect nobody.
And we make these images, don't we? I do it. You've done it. Everybody's doing it. And we sort of only show the good, right? Don't we?
Yeah.
And in life, you can't show the bad. Why? So in death, it's going to be different. Therefore, in death, meaning resurrection, which therefore eternity. Hell of a fucking contrast now, isn't it? So you mean to tell me that you would be able to face all of this knowing in death with a feeling, but couldn't do it in life? And then why did you hide it in life? But there again, now you've just manifested because, you know, you died and crossed over and now you're... Existence or not? What's the catch? There is always a catch. Everybody knows everything. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. No filters? No filters. The raw. Will I still feel shame? Well, yes. Are you willing to feel it is another question. Most will run. Most will run. Yeah. Are you sure people want resurrection when they've committed that they're going to die and that's it? And therefore, if they were not going to die and they knew that there was a chance of that, would they have done the things in the first place?
People believe in different things are good, don't they?
Well, if they knew that they were watched truly, by who? By spectres. By gods. No, by your whole fucking existence, bloodlines, and any other bloodline that ever existed that actually took and walked the walk. Which would you pick? Anyway, you don't need to answer that because, again, it reveals way too much, so don't keep it personal. That's your thing to think about. But even still, and anybody else's for that matter, you don't need to reveal what you would do. You can if you want. Contrast now of life, living, and I've got to come back into it now. I journeyed off for a little bit and got to come back. And yeah, so how would that churn down? So no, don't answer it. Don't answer it because that reveals too much. But still, if people can't do it in life, why would they do it in death? And being death meaning transition from one form of understanding that is the end. Some people are wicked with this. They will hold information to the grave.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. There's like some way of power or whatever it is. It's a weird sort of situation. And yes, because death is the way out. Mm-hmm. Is what some believe.
Yeah.
That's an eternal punishment, that is, isn't it?
What eternal punishment?
Just to resurrect some, just to make them walk the walk in front of all of those bloodlines and many other life forms that ever rose up. I thought it was the way out. Well, little did you know. But I want out. Not you. Come on. Come on, it's good for you. Come on, face it. Come on, you got to face all of these. A lot of questions. A lot of questions. Anyway, right, let's wind this one down because I really got to come back. So yeah, that's a fascinating thing, and give you something to think about, won't it? Right, yeah, let's leave it at beautiful. I enjoyed this, I really did. This is fascinating. Oh, yeah, good talk. Right, let's go. Let's go.